And you want that holding my hand.
Okay.
Every now and then you come and maybe massage on the shoulder, or when you come in or you see him, hey, how you doing? How was your day? Give him a kiss on the cheek. Just letting them know, hey, listen, you know what? You mine.
Okay.
I love you.
Okay.
Even just small gestures. When we walk and you decide just to
Absolutely.
put your hand on my back. Come on, baby.
I get it. Because guys can be a little offish, and then all of a sudden expect they to just expect for
Pop off.
magic, magic and 4th of July.
Hello, 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 and welcome back.
It's another episode of
Love Ain't Magic.
It's work. It is hard work.
It is not the way the tagline goes.
It can be magical
Oh,
with a lot of work.
now I do it.
I think that went well. We are here and we are so excited about today because today's episode, last time we talked about what men
Men
want.
want.
And today we sit back and listen to what women
Women
want. That is a $1 million question. First of all, before we even start, I just want to thank those that have listened. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to comment. If you see a poll, give us a poll. We love to have your feedback. And I'm just going to step out the way and let you, because you brought a whole book worth of
I did
stuff
not.
in here. And I didn't. I just had a little bitty list. You got yours going. All right. I am very interested to hear this information.
Okay.
So,
Unlike you, I hadn't talked to every woman in the world,
yeah, I did. Though.
but I am a woman.
Yes, you are a fabulous woman. You are 100% woman.
With married friends,
Okay.
friends who have maybe been divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Friends who are single.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just went through the list. I even posted something on Facebook. I was a little in my feelings because at first didn't nobody
Okay.
put
Okay.
anything down, but then they started coming through for me. My lady started coming through for me. So
Okay.
So I'm just
don't
gonna
use any names.
okay. But to be honest with you, I was looking and I saw that a lot of the responses were pretty much around the same from each individual that responded and that you just talked and just having just regular conversations,
Okay.
just going through life.
Okay, let's go. I'm ready to
All
hear
right.
this
So
magical list that's
so I
going to
have a list.
let us know because we really want to know.
So
Number one,
emotional connection.
you sure gonna have to. Okay, I know.
Okay.
Okay, help me understand exactly
So it
what that
talks
means.
about many women seek emotional intimacy and a deep connection with their partners. This can involve open communication,
Mm-hmm.
sharing feelings, feeling understood and supported.
Sounds to me like this also goes along with something you might have said, maybe in the men episode.
Okay.
Listening,
Listening.
and more than just listening, trying to actually understand, and then that's going to help us connect with you, right?
Hopefully.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah. Listening. Because sometimes they talk about when things are repeated. If there's something going on and the woman continuously repeats little things, but
Learning your partner.
learning your
Okay.
partner,
Okay.
listening, really taking the time to get to know, watching, looking for cues when something is going on, just an emotional connection. Doesn't mean we have to sit down and talk for hours and hours.
I get it.
But
I get it. Fellas, we aren't always into the emotion part, but we need to slow down, you're saying, and make sure we understand things like what are your fears? What's the stress that's going on in your life right now?
you also being able to share that with us and us not having to guess. Being able to
Oh,
talk between each other.
okay. Okay, communicating
Communicating,
and
emotional connection.
our connection emotionally. I really didn't
Talk
think that.
about your feelings.
Okay.
Is that not what
That is
emotional connection
emotional
is?
connection. And you said a deep emotional connection. So we got to make sure we listen real intense and get really into all of our feelings. And why do I feel this way?
Yeah,
I understand.
put down the remote
Right.
and actually get off the phone, quit scrolling.
Yes.
When you can tell when your partner is this looks like it's gonna be a serious conversation.
Okay. Now this ain't
This
about
ain't
me though, right?
no.
Okay, so I was
You
trying to
you
take because
you 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 do really good
I'm about to take it personal. Since you looked like right in my eyes when you said that.
because 'cause I'm
Okay.
talking to you.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
another way to make sure you have an emotional connect. We're looking at
Yes.
each other,
Yes, ma'am.
and we're talking, and we're communicating. So an emotional quit blowing kids
I'm
trying
trying
to
to
get me off
connect.
track.
Try to connect emotionally.
An emotional connection.
Okay. All right.
And I hope I explained that one well.
Think you did. Think you did.
Okay. So another thing we did talk about communication, but I think we've talked about that pretty much on all of our episodes,
Absolutely.
being able to communicate, which will probably bring about emotional connections.
Right.
And that's just being able to talk about everything, especially if we're talking about in a marriage, being comfortable enough to even talk about situations and things that may be uncomfortable.
Right.
Because especially when you're new in a marriage and a relationship, trying to get to know and to understand. And sometimes, I think sometimes we may limit ourselves in what we say or what we ask, trying not to rub anybody the wrong way or whatever. But we have to be comfortable in that when we talk about a relationship, especially when we're looking at long term.
Okay.
To talk about some things that may
Absolutely.
be
And I definitely
uncomfortable.
agree. Us men, we can do better to make sure that we really understand what issues are going on, even understanding what we may do to trigger something that could make your day a little worse. And then I can also understand even sharing things like how we were raised,
Right.
what things that we may have in our past that may keep us from opening up and things like that stuff is just going to hinder a relationship. So we have to be able to
Absolutely. Because you
communicate
need to know each
better.
other's needs,
Right.
what each one of you need. And when we talk about one thing on here, it talks about resolving conflicts. And one thing you don't want is within your relationship, conflicts to go unresolved because then things fester. And sometimes it causes more of a rift than what it has to. And so being able to talk about those, I think that's where it goes back to being, you may be uncomfortable in some things, but being able to talk.
I think sometimes we go try to get away from the conflict because we're just trying to get back out of the situation. We don't really want to face it and deal with it. I'm just talking about guys. And so it's just easier to shut down and try to leave. But that situation really didn't go away. It's just waiting on us.
And then sometimes conflict can sound so negative, and it may not be anything even big. Just, "Hey, the other day you left hey, listen, I know we talked about this, but I almost fell in the toilet because you left the toilet seat open, so I'm just trying to communicate to you that."
This ain't supposed to be personal.
I'm just I don't even know if that was a good example.
Do you look back? Does anybody look back? I'm definitely ready.
Okay. And so we talked about emotional connections, and
Hmm.
we talked about
Hmm.
communication. I think almost everybody that I talked about shared values and goals.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Shared
Okay.
values and goals. I'm gonna take it to when we talk about shared values, being a Christian.
Okay.
So sharing
Okay.
those values and those beliefs,
Okay.
it makes a difference. It makes a difference within a relationship too when
Absolutely.
you all are on one accord with that.
Absolutely.
It makes it
Absolutely.
easier to communicate and different things. And so definitely for me, that would definitely be one. And I think I had a lot of the women that I spend time with and hang out with, we pretty much have that in common. So that was like a common denominator between all of us,
Absolutely.
sharing those same beliefs.
I think that is definitely something that I hear a lot about also just
Mhm.
in my role of pastor. And I think like I definitely hear that all the time. A lot of times I wonder if women, they want someone to share those beliefs. And for this context, we're talking about Christian men,
Mhm.
someone that shares their faith, things like that. And we just want to make sure I'm clear. Does that mean they are ready for a Christian man to come into their life and assume the role biblically that the Bible says as far as like leading their home? I brought that up in ours as men want to be able to lead,
Mhm.
and they find a lot of women don't want them to lead. So
I'm gonna say yes
okay,
because
I'm
that's
just
what they put down.
just checking. So when I call all the men in the world, I'm gonna let them know I talked to the ladies,
Yeah,
and they
and
say they don't have a problem with you being a Christian man, but be a Christian man. If you're gonna lead, make sure you lead according to the Lord. Is that good?
yes, that's
Okay.
good. Yes,
All right.
and then we get into goals like having some things in common,
Okay.
interest. Even when you talk about goals within a relationship, like
Okay.
what's your end goal?
Okay.
especially when you get to a certain point. My end goal is not to date forever. 5, 6 years. I'm 30 and we're gonna date for the next 10 years. So when we
Okay.
talk about same values, same
Goals could be
yeah,
commitment as
commitment.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it
Okay.
looking like for you? Is your end goal like going from just a dating relationship to like a marriage?
Okay. So
How do you value
if I'm understanding this correctly, we're talking about goals all around.
we're talking
But
about goals
but
all
we're
around, but
also talking
specifically
about
I brought up when we
okay,
talked about goals, like relationship
that's
goals.
fair.
I think that's something that you need to get because you don't want to spend that time with that person. And their goal is, I'm really never gonna get married.
Can I just tell you this?
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell this to you. You can tell it to all your ladies.
Okay,
Okay.
because they don't hear you.
Yes. Okay. But this is the truth, and
Mhm.
I hate to say this, but there are a lot of guys. No matter what they tell you, they never intend on giving you what you want when it comes to marriage. There are guys that they're never going to take that step. They're just going to always say enough and do enough, and it's always going to be next week, next month, next year.
Mhm.
But there's always been guys since I was young. I've always known guys, whether I was working with people like family members on construction sites or in college and stuff. The guys just never want to be married. And like I said, there's a lot of guys never even seen a marriage work. And so they just don't want to do it, but they get in their relationships and unfortunately sometimes just not upfront and honest with it.
Absolutely.
Not upfront
Not
and
saying it
honest
with
with it.
your words, but saying it with your acts.
And so women have to be able to figure out this is not gonna happen with him. And do I stick this thing through or do I leave? That's my thought.
Right.
So
Another thing that I was looking at when it came under shared values and goals,
mhm.
saw someone talk about valuing my opinion when you talked about leading.
Okay.
Leading, but also valuing, "Hey, listen, let's sit down, let's talk about it. What do you think?"
Right.
Valuing what I think, what I feel, and not trying to lead with an iron fist. Somebody specifically said gentle leadership.
Right. Now let me just tell you this.
Mhm,
I've seen this firsthand because first thing they do, they'll call say, Pastor, we need to do some counseling. Like,
mhm,
I want to lead, but she won't let me lead. And when they talking about leading, they not talking about what I'm talking about. They talking about they get to choose what bills get to be paid, but yet they don't do anything around the house. They don't contribute to the home. They don't go to church. They don't go to this. They don't do anything. They just want to pop up whenever some money got to be spent. And now all of a sudden they want to be able to make those decisions. So I try to tell them leadership is you in the back seat sometimes. I know that sounds fun, like you're always like leading, but humbleness, servitude,
mhm,
serving the family, serving your wife, that's the greatest part of leadership. And that's what Christ displayed to us. And so, as husbands, you have to sacrifice. You're the last one to eat. You're the last one to be hungry. If anybody gets a second job, you get the second job. If anybody goes outside to figure out what the noise was, you go outside. If anybody has to get out and go back to the store in the middle of the night because it's cold, it's dark, it's you.
mhm.
That's leadership. It's not just, can I buy some rims
Yeah, absolutely.
with the tax money?
You just do what I say.
I do what you say.
No,
I'm
I'm not
scared
saying
of
that's
you.
leadership is not
I'm
just about
scared of
you
you.
do what I say. And it comes, to be honest with you, it comes over time. And it's not saying that he has to be perfect at
Mhm.
something and that he's not going to make mistakes, but at least he brings me in on
Right.
some things and we talk about it. And every now and then it may be, okay, listen, we're going to do it that way.
Right.
And if it doesn't work out, I don't throw it in his face.
Amen.
He may come back and say, you know what? Listen, thought about what you said. Let's try it that way.
Okay.
And don't mind that. So when we talk about that, we talk about shared values and goals, you do take my experiences and you take all of that when it comes to some of the decision,
Mhm.
when it comes to the decision making,
Absolutely.
because it's both of us
Right.
in this thing. And so you do at least listen. So
Thank you.
you do.
I've
I
told you
appreciate that.
time and time again,
Uh-huh.
I listen because you're better than me at everything.
I am not,
That's the smart thing to do is to
but I do
listen.
appreciate you talking me up though.
I'm just being honest, baby. All right, all right.
Okay.
So I
Women,
think
I hope I'm
fellowship
doing us
with
some
this.
justice.
You know what? And we're listening. All men are listening right now.
Okay. Support and encouragement.
Okay. Meaning you want us to appreciate you more. Okay. Support your goals.
Support,
I wanna
absolutely.
go back to school.
Mhm.
I wanna learn a trade. I need some help around the house and encouragement. You're an awesome mother. You're doing a good job. Thank you for working and working hard and coming back home and supporting me.
Absolutely.
You need some women need some affirmation.
Mhm. Affirmation. Ooh, that's a good. Absolutely.
What? I think I should have put that on my list now.
No,
That is a
and you could have, and what I wanted to make sure that we talked about is that one thing we cannot do, we cannot talk about what each sex wants
that's right.
if
That's
we're
right.
not willing to also give it.
Absolutely.
And so everything that we're saying that we want, we have to also be able to give. And that's huge. And I had one of people who responded out on social media, and that's the biggest thing she said. The things that I want, I have to remember that I also have to give that to my husband. So
Right.
affirming him, baby, I appreciate you. I appreciate
Right.
you for handling that. Something came up at the house and you took off of work and you went ahead and you went home and you handled that. I appreciate that
Right.
because I didn't have to take off this time because I had to take off with the kids or do something
Absolutely.
like that. And so just encouraging and affirming each other. Absolutely.
Well, let me say this. I think one thing we need to try to remember, and this is still early in our podcast life,
Right.
but one thing that would help is people, in order to do this, what you can do to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Make it more than just something you hear.
Right.
Maybe write down something you want to tell your wife tomorrow, right? Or your husband
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. So if I wrote down something tomorrow, I want to tell my wife, thank you for all of the hours of doing these girls' hair because I wouldn't be able to do it. And I know how long it takes.
Mm.
And you do it when you come home from work and maybe every day making sure, because unless you are what I'm learning, unless you are very purposeful and very intentional in things when it comes to love, then you just end up going through the motions.
And sometimes you don't even realize you are going through
You
the
don't.
motions.
You
It,
don't.
you just get kind of complacent. And so you try not to, but especially when you start talking about marriage and children, especially multiple children, and
Right.
depending on their activities.
Oh, Lord.
And
Oh,
I'm
my
just gonna
goodness.
be honest with you when it talks about support and encouragement. I remember us having a conversation, and it was really both of us, but I think you brought it up one time, and you were saying that I gotta apologize to you. I was upset because sometimes it seems as if you feel that you're doing more than what the other person is doing
Mhm.
until I end up getting sick.
Yeah.
And then you pretty much having to handle
Oh,
everything.
yes.
And you end up getting sick or down and can't do. And
Absolutely.
I remember you saying that I apologize because it's not about what I do
Absolutely.
because we're both in this marriage. And I remember us having, and I had to tell you, you know what? I agree. I found myself
Yeah.
getting upset.
Yeah.
So
I think you may have showed me something. It gets circulated sometime, but it said marriage is not 50-50.
100,
Marriage
100.
is 100-100.
Yeah. And you try your best to give it, but on some days you may I may give 80 and then you have to take on that
I
extra
got the
20.
extra 20. I got to bring 120 today. I
Yeah,
got to bring 120
absolutely.
today. And that's what marriage and couples and relationships are about.
Absolutely. So just supporting each other in what we do. So that just means if the trash stink and you not here, don't let the trash just sit in there because it stinks. Just take it out to the trash
Girl, you
can.
better talk. You better.
Listen, I could take that trash out to the trash
Mhm.
can. Now if it's a raccoon or something out there, I'm just gonna sit in the garage.
Yeah, we show is. Nah. Yep,
So
absolutely.
support and
Support,
encouragement.
support, and encouragement. That's
Mhm.
good. I like that. I
And
like that.
then it
We can do
says
that. We can
one
do
thing
better.
that I noticed that it says on there is during both challenging and joyful times.
That's the truth.
It's the
It
truth.
shouldn't go away every time I have a
Mhm.
bad day at work.
All right. Then we have respect and equality.
Okay.
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 I'm just for you. It says women often desire relationships built on a mutual respect and equality. This includes respecting each other's opinions. And we got into that with the values and the goals,
Uh-huh.
boundaries.
Mhm.
Okay. And sharing responsibilities in the relationship.
Sharing
Yeah.
responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We can't put everything on
Hmm.
you all's shoulders. We have to be willing to step up. Absolutely. I don't
Absolutely.
think anything I'm hearing so far, the fellas that I know, I don't think this is something that they would not agree with so far. I think every woman should be okay with having these things in the relationship.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that we're gonna be perfect off the top, but if we have a desire, I'm thinking about these things that people have given you off of social media. Like
Hmm.
I know some of these names. Like these
Yeah.
aren't people that just
Absolutely.
throw stuff out there because it's just to do it. These are really things
Absolutely.
that
And it's some that have been devastated in their marriage, and yet they willing to try it again
yeah.
and not leaving it alone. They worked on themselves. Hey, listen, I'm good now because I can only imagine depending on what they've gone through.
Right.
Some people like, I'm not doing this
Oh,
again.
listen, think even if you have someone who's never been married, but imagine if you've been in a relationship and you gave your all into it
Mhm.
and then it just crumbled.
It crumbled.
You won't want to step back into that again. But I'm hopeful that things like conversations like this, podcasts like these and things will make people, I tell people all the time, don't ever give up on love. I don't
Right.
care how old you are. I don't care what the last relationship was like. I do believe that there is love and happiness for somebody
It
everywhere.
is.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. So then we have, because I got one I really want to get to.
Mhm.
We have quality time, spending quality time.
All the
So,
time.
spending
Okay.
time together. I want you to want to be with me.
Okay.
If it seems like every time I want to do something, you don't want to do it, or nah, let's not go out, let's stay in. You don't want people to see that I'm with you. What is going on? But quality time also helps with communication because you spend that time, you talk, you gain that emotional connection, you start learning each other. And so a lot of these things start to fall into
Well, you don't
place.
think the fellas want quality time? I just think we just have a different definition
It
of
was,
quality
but
time.
that wasn't on, what was your definition? Because that wasn't on your list.
Oh, this your list.
This my
I have
list.
my list.
This
You
the
got the
women's list.
okay.
I'm just saying, but the same thing
Yes,
I
ma'am.
said that we need to give back. So we definitely need to spend quality time.
Okay, okay, but
I like spending quality time with you.
I love spending quality
I
time with you.
do.
I'm just saying sometimes, guys, we may feel like our quality time is let's just stay at home and watch a movie.
No, that's fine. I was saying if you never want to take me out anywhere or want to go anywhere, and not even you don't want nobody to know you with me.
Okay,
But
I definitely
no,
understand.
and it does mean you can stay and you can do, but quality time just means quality time, spending time together, just you and your partner.
Received,
Receive.
received,
It
received.
said affection and intimacy, physical affection, intimacy, rounded,
Okay,
creates a well-rounded relationship. And you
absolutely.
want that holding my hand.
Okay,
Every now and then you come and maybe massage on the shoulder, or when you come in or you see him, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Give him a kiss on the cheek. Just letting them know, hey, listen, you know what? You mine.
okay,
I love you.
okay. I definitely understand this. This
Mm-hmm.
is not. This is women would love for you to be more concerned about overall romance
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to
Even just small gestures when we walk and you decide just to
absolutely.
put your hand on my back. Come on, baby.
I get it. Because guys can be a little offish, and then all of a sudden expect things to just expect for
Pop off.
magic, magic and 4th of July.
And you know what? I saw this reel and it talked about how intimacy and those things when it comes to relationships doesn't just start the day you want it to happen.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
so it's just little things that you do all the time.
Hmm.
And just wanting to feel wanted. I
Give me a
think
list. I'm
everybody
doing
wants to
all
feel
of them.
wanted.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's
I do. I think everybody wants to feel wanted.
good list.
And then we have security and trust.
Hmm.
And that's huge.
It is.
That means honesty. When we talk
Yeah.
about trustworthiness, that I feel secure in you as my man, that I don't have to worry about you mistreating me emotionally, physically. I can rely on you when you say, hey, I got you or something. I know, you know what? He does. I
She
think
should
that is
feel
so
safe with
important.
you.
You safe. Yes,
She should feel safe with you.
absolutely.
You going to she can trust you with her
Yes.
emotions, her
Mhm.
feelings, her secrets, her insecurities. You ain't gonna get upset and go there with me and say things that's gonna hurt me or break my
Absolutely.
trust and step out of our family, step out of our relationship.
If
Yeah.
nobody else, I should be able to come in. If I have to just let the tears flow, if something's going on, you gonna sit there, you gonna hold me, you gonna listen. It's just when I say being safe, it's nothing like feeling safe.
This almost feel like it's gonna end up having to be a part two. I'm just
No,
telling.
no.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because I don't even think I could be in a relationship with somebody that I don't feel safe with and I
That
can't
that
trust.
knows my triggers and continues to push on them whenever they get mad and
I'm
want to
not
be spiteful.
I'm
I
not signing
mean,
up for that. I'm not.
oh my gosh. So to feel safe with someone, like, at the end of the day, I know if ain't nobody else got my back, I know you got my back.
Right. But
and you're not gonna go out, you're not gonna put my business in the streets.
Absolutely.
And I just
But how do you get to that point? This may not be a how-to episode,
mm-mm.
but you don't get to safety, security, and
Oh,
trust
that's over time.
because you've been dating, for 3 months.
No, that's over time.
Yeah, it takes
But you know what? You can
learn.
and that's what communication comes in. I remember even just newly in a marriage talking to someone and said her husband said, whatever, we can just get a divorce. I don't play with that divorce word. No,
No,
you're not
we
gonna
ain't
come to me
saying that.
talking
We're
about,
not even talking about that
yeah,
word. But go ahead.
you're not gonna be throwing that at me.
Mm,
And so that right there makes you scared to communicate.
mm.
Doesn't make you feel secure. Okay, I can't be honest. I can't talk about the things that may be bothering me so that we can move on to the next step because then you continuously throw those things about leaving. And so
That's where you go every time
time, yeah,
to shut that conversation down,
yeah,
because if you make her feel like you gonna leave, what woman wants somebody she loved to leave out of her life, you
absolutely.
know?
And every time I turn around, that's what you send me. And so those are the things that I had. Yeah.
Mhm.
Those are the things that I had. And I truly think even just starting off with these can really be impactful on a relationship. When
Think
we're
so.
talking about mature relationships, we continuously say that.
Mhm.
And even when I talk about mature, people who actually want to be in a relationship,
Right.
not just jumping from, but
That all that stuff is take work.
it does.
It's gonna take it take work.
It
It's gonna
does.
take time.
Mhm.
You have to plan for it.
Gotta talk about it.
You think people plan for healthy, happy relationships?
Well, I hope you get into it for a healthy, happy relationship. I don't think anybody goes into it for bad, but
No, but
I think it just depends on the people that get into it.
some
You gotta
people are
take
willing to
time,
work
yeah.
more than others.
You
Yeah,
gotta take your time to get to know that person.
absolutely.
So, like, taking the time to really get a chance to know somebody, even before I start saying that we're dating
Okay.
and we're exclusive. Before I tell you, we oftentimes I think sometimes we make that mistake. This is what I'm looking for in a man. I'm looking for this. He's taking notes. He gives you that.
Yeah.
Then when he got you hook, line, and sinker,
Yes,
then
yes.
I'm showing my true self.
Right,
And
right.
so guess what? We're gonna take time and we're gonna talk and we're gonna get to know each other because I'm gonna listen to you because you can only dress something up for so long.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Guys, we specialize in being able to carry a certain image for
right.
a little while. But if you stick around long enough, if you ask enough questions, spend enough time, you will begin to see the true color. That's men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure some women you may know may put on a certain way as well. I know I hear guys say a lot of times, I didn't think she'd be like this, or I didn't think she would keep my kids from me because I got in another relationship. I didn't think such and such. So I my heart goes out to anybody in that situation. But
Right.
yeah,
So I'm just gonna read a little bit
go
from
ahead.
social media.
Go ahead. We're gonna leave y'all names out of
Yeah, we're
this.
gonna leave names because we did talk about relationship with the Lord. We talked about spiritual beliefs.
Hmm.
They're responsible. Some people said don't not a smoker.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't want nobody.
No nobody who smoked, they
Okay.
said. Some people said, and then we have faithful, which goes into security and trust.
Uh-huh.
One person put attractive to me. So you don't have to be your pretty, but it
My pretty.
gotta be able to look at you. And then it says sense of humor, thoughtful, smart, considerate, will go down. And I had somebody said I should have started with must be born again Christian, respectful.
Hmm.
It says mentally, emotional, and financially stable. Okay.
Financially stable. I haven't heard that on
Fun-
this. I came in here waiting to see if that was coming up.
really?
So my question to you would be,
Mhm.
from people you may talk to, how big of an issue is money? Does he have to be like, as long as he got a job? Is it okay if he got a job and he's like a minimum wage job, or does it need to be a career job
I think it depends on on the person
on the
and where
person?
you are in your relationship. You
Okay.
and I got together. You were 18, I was 17.
Mr. Tidy Car Wash. Mr. Tidy Car Wash. Head up,
Okay.
Mr.
So
Tidy.
we
So,
built
yeah.
together. And one thing that somebody did put in here is being able to build
Oh,
together. No matter what age you are as you get married on that one, being able to build together. But you do want to look at that work history. Is he keeping a job? What is he doing? Is he ambitious and want to do something? Is he trying to start his own business? I had somebody talk about they want to be an influencer. Okay. What's that backup?
if your podcast
Yes.
don't work, what? If you, if your YouTube
What's the
channel don't
what's the
work.
backup? Because you don't want it to get in, and it seems as if you're the main one. I heard some people say the main one just supporting. So you're looking at what is he doing as work,
It
and
can
what is he, and what, and when I say that, is he keeping a job, or is every time I turn around and he's getting to talk about the different jobs that he has, is
he get
every
fired and he
he get,
blaming
yeah,
somebody else.
somebody else, or he's struggling to keep a job, because then that, to me, I'm looking at commitment.
Right, right. I think that I do know, and there's a certain conversation we had with someone, and so that person's listening, they'll know this conversation
Mm,
happened there. But I do think there will be a fear, especially if you're a woman and you're mature
mhm,
and you have accomplished some things in your career. You may have some things, you may have a home, things like that, and then you want to know that if I bring somebody into this,
mhm.
how do I know that they're not gonna take advantage of
Ish.
this
Absolutely.
and try to leave me without. And then I'm trying to leave stuff for my children or my daughter or
Right.
son or whatever.
Because for me, it's not about, oh, I'm making more than you in this marriage. If we both working and bringing that check home,
Mm.
and we are taking care of everything, that's fine. But if it's like we struggle, you might have to go out and get, look.
I mean, I mean,
That's it. That second job.
men, we're gonna do whatever we got to do to provide.
Yeah.
Now, if we got to get a second job,
But
these big old.
I've been 22 years in my career, and so
That's
I can
true.
see, but where I am right now,
Mhm.
I can see that when we talk about being financially stable, they're gonna have to be stable.
Okay,
And
need
I'm
to
not saying
know.
they gotta make six figures.
I just need to know because there seems like there's this swell of undercurrent growing amongst women
Mhm.
that men have to prove the ability to have a lot of money, like certain cars,
No,
certain
no.
houses. Where are you taking me on to eat? And they're trying to really figure out in advance: does this guy get money, or does this guy not have money? And
Well,
I know some fellas feel like maybe this love is gonna pass them by because they're just not in the position that they don't have a lot of money.
if we're looking for, they have to have a lot of money and a certain amount of cars, or a certain type of car. Well, first of all, that ain't who he need anyway,
Okay.
because now we looking at superficial stuff.
Okay.
So that's when I really talk about
Okay.
getting to know that person. Yeah, because I don't even want a car with a car note. I've been without a car note for so long. Just give me a
Lord,
cash
don't.
car, and let's keep it
Yeah,
moving.
when I hear Carlo, my head
I
starts.
just want air and heat. It ain't gotta work at the same time, just in the right season.
Well, listen, that's what you get now, so you good.
But
I get you a heat, you gonna get an upgrade.
okay. Definitely. But again, like I said, the same things that we're asking, we have to be willing
Right.
to give. Somebody put job, transportation, a place to lay his head,
Your
own
list a
housing.
little longer than my list.
It
I should have
is.
told the fellas we should have added some more in there.
Alright, listen, you just
We
gotta get it
should.
done. You had your episode, I'm about to have mine.
I got a
But
long list. Y'all got a library.
but for the most part, all of them are saying the same thing
Yeah,
that I
that's a
put
good
down. I was
list.
just trying to look through and see if I saw some other
It's a
things
good
that,
list. I didn't hear anything. I
nothing
thought I
negative.
was gonna hear like more about the attraction and physical specimens and different stuff.
Like,
All I got was "Yo pretty."
yeah,
Oh,
you gonna want somebody who easy on the eyes.
okay.
I say that they may not be attracted to somebody else, but that's the first thing. Physical attraction is the first thing that's gonna pull you to
Yes.
even approach
Okay.
a person.
Okay.
Or even if a person approaches you, for
Mhm.
you to even, am I gonna give my real number, or be like
I'm gonna give 'em this
fake
email
number?
address
Listen,
from college. It's from my MySpace
like,
back in '98.
listen.
I enjoyed the list. I'm glad we did this episode. I think it is hard to know for us guys sometimes to read women on what they expect or what they want. Maybe it's just because we're not listening good enough.
Mhm.
Maybe it's because women don't explain it to us good enough. I'm not sure. But somehow or another, if we're ever going to get to the point to where we can start having healthy relationships for our
Right.
children and for our next generation, we've got to tackle some of these issues
Mhm.
that keep breaking down relationships. Or we'll just continue to have a cycle going on and on of like kids grow up and they just never seen a healthy
A healthy
relationship.
relationship.
And I don't want that for my children. The listeners, whoever, if it's only 5 listeners that ever jump on here, I imagine they probably don't want it
Yeah.
for themselves or for their children also. So
It's just
definitely a good list.
yep, just about being vulnerable
Absolutely.
and being able to trust, but that comes over time.
Yep.
And so I'm
All
glad
right.
I took that risk 21 years ago. Look at
You
me macking.
you definitely is. I'm so glad that you are. Let me see what that is on your list. You're
What's that?
connecting with me emotionally,
Mhm.
but you're also making sure that you're like not just you're like holding my hand early
Mhm.
and looking me in my eyes. You're being affectionate and intimate, if
Um,
I do say so myself. And now you're weakening me. Okay, so we're gonna close the episode right now. But listen, I want to definitely thank you and those people that was able to respond
Definitely
for
so.
this episode.
Thank you
And
again for tuning in.
absolutely
What
love
women want, magic
magic.
is not.
This is the what women want
Love ain't
edition.
magic.
No, but it
But with work,
but with work,
it can be magical.
it can be magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Absolutely.
that from now on.
Absolutely. Because with work, it can be
It
magical. And
can.
that's what this podcast is about. It's about the effort it takes. And so we're gonna try to laugh a little. I think we need to start planning a guest. Not sure who. We'll talk about it. We have
Okay.
some ideas. We've already talked about some names.
That'll be fun.
A good episode. Bring somebody in to give the listeners another voice. Feel free. You can check us out at all of your podcast places, also YouTube. Feel free to give us comments. Make sure you rate us, give us a comment, and subscribe. Share it with a friend, perhaps someone that is starting love, somebody who's been in love for a while. Maybe they just trying to get over love. Share this with them. Give us your input. We really enjoy it. And we're out.
All right.